a little bit earlier. Got back from the supermarket. All right. Hello, everyone. It's Jules here, and welcome to the first of my next 14 masterclasses. So you're all very, very welcome. What I'm going to do each week is I'm going to talk about a specific topic around media. A lot of them are the questions that people ask me at my talks and at my events. And for those of you that are already trying to handle your own PR, these will be questions that will be really useful to you as well. So welcome. I'm just going to wait for everyone to trickle in. Do you want to, on the right hand side, you'll see there's a little thing where you can click on the chat box, which is the one that's sort of got 3 dots and has a little speech bubble. Just go in there and tell me, say hi, so that we know you're here. And maybe just let me know what your business is about or what stage you're at for your PR, because I'd be really interested to know. Susan Jarvis, I can see, is the first one, and I know that she is just about ready to launch her business, and she is already using the platform. So if anyone else has the time to quickly leave me a little message, that would be great. I think I'll get started in about a minute. So I'll just give you a minute to get yourself sorted and say hello. Oh, well done, Susan. I'm very excited for you that her business is going to be open next Tuesday. Hi, Cheryl. Lovely to have you on board. Everyone else, just drop in your little chat box thing when you get the chance. Hi, Melissa. Web design development and SEO business. That's very handy. I'd say some of our users would be quite interested in that as well. So as I said, this is only about a particular aspect of PR, and each of my lunchtime talks is going to be just a quick overview of a particular aspect of PR. However, you're more than welcome to ask me any questions during the course of it. And when I get to the end, I'll quickly go through the questions and check that there's nothing there answer anything that you might have. So, right, what we're going to do now is I'm going to share the screen and I will take you through some slides. So what is a media exclusive? Now, this is a question I get asked a lot, and any of you who are doing your PR will be familiar, I would think, with at least one journalist that might have asked you to do that. So now I'm just trying to use this technology. Woohoo, it's working. All right, great. Okay, so the first thing that I thought I would go through with you, for anyone that doesn't know what PR is or is fairly new to the handle your own PR process, I'm just going to quickly go through what PR is and why you should be doing it. So in terms of the PR I'm talking about, it isn't social media. It is exclusively about mainstream media. So I'm talking magazines, I'm talking newspapers, I'm talking TV, radio, and blogs as well, because I think they're pretty mainstream. And whatever I say about radio pretty much applies to podcasts as well. But what PR is about getting free editorial in those kind of media. Now, what happens is if you can come up with a really good story angle, the media will take it and no money exchanges hands. So that is why PR is just so fabulous, particularly if you're a small business. The other thing about PR is that you get almost immediate trust from anyone who reads about you in the media. There is a perception out there that journalists are actually scouring through, websites and Google every day to try and find stories. But the reality is that they are relying on people sending them stories. And if they like the story, then they will put it in their magazine or newspaper, and anyone who is one of their readers will read about it, or viewers will read or listen on the radio to it and go, oh my goodness, the media has obviously gone out and found the best person to talk to. So I don't even need to worry about whether this is a good company. I know it is. And it gets you to that next level of trust very, very quickly. And that third-party endorsement is kind of like a trusted friend of yours saying, hey, have you heard about this company? You should go and have a look. They're really good. Because that's the way that we treat the media. We trust them that way. And of course, the other beautiful thing about PR is that it positions you as being a leader in your field for exactly the reasons I just talked about. So it's really cool and it's not difficult to do. You just need to understand the process. So I'm just love this little illustration. I wanted to show you. It's just such a fantastic example of the difference between advertising and PR. So with advertising, because you pay for it yourself and you control the message to an extent, we all know that. And it's a little bit like having to blow your own trumpet. So you're the one saying, you know, this is my product or this is my service and isn't it great? And here are the key things that are great about it. It also limits you because with an ad, you have to keep things very simple. It limits you as to how much you can explain in an ad. But PR is completely different because the journalist or the magazine or the newspaper is saying this is a great company, exactly as I said. So it will give you immediate trust. The other beautiful thing is that unlike an ad where there's not very much you can do with it once it's run, with PR, you can do so much with it once it's finished. And that is one of the topics that I'll be covering off. But it is brilliant because you can then put it out through social, put it on your website, put it in newsletters, put it in a frame and stick it on the wall in your office, whatever. And it really gives you that added credibility. So anyway, let's talk about the topic for today. So firstly, what is an exclusive? Now, anybody who is sending media releases out to the media will possibly be asked for an exclusive by a journalist at some stage. And what they mean is, can they have that story and no other media have that story? But I am going to go into a little bit of detail about that in a minute. But let's just go on. So what I wanted to do was talk to you about a couple of examples where people have done exclusives. Exclusives tend to be, not always, but are often when they are going to write the story for you. So in this instance, Roger, who runs the Melbourne Headache Centre, is a physio. He decided to do his own PR because he has a technique that gets rid of migraines, and it's not something you can easily explain. And he also wanted that extra credibility that comes with being in the media. So what he did was he gave an exclusive to the Herald Sun, which is that image on the top right, the world first migraine therapy trial in Melbourne, was the story that the Herald Sun wrote. What happened on the back of that was that the 3AW contacted him and he got to do a radio interview with them. And then each of the evening news, because they read the morning newspapers to find the story ideas for including in the evening news, each of them rang him. And he ended up getting on every single one of the evening news. He didn't have time to fit in interviews with SBS and the ABC, which I think is very cute. But he ended up getting a hit on his website every single minute for the next 3 hours. And he got 7 months worth of business in the first 2 days after that. So that is what can happen if you offer an exclusive. Now, I've got another example next. This is Laura, who has been doing our PR boot camp. Laura really wanted to get on TV and managed to do that last Sunday, which was very exciting. Now, she again needed to offer them an exclusive. So she came on to talk about stress management and how to manage that when you've got a very busy life. She was able to give them a couple of angles that she hadn't given to anybody else, and they absolutely loved it. And look, she managed to get on TV. She told us that she had 23,000% more visitors to her website after that appeared. And she also got 16 new business inquiries on her website in the following 24 hours, which she said was 100% more than she'd had over the previous 3 years. So it is often worth it to give a select media an exclusive. So what media likes exclusives? Well, what you will find is that newspapers particularly like exclusives because by virtue of their name, it's all about what's new. And so therefore they want something that's new and fresh and that no one else will get. They also want to be the only one to break that story. So you'll find that newspapers are very specific about it. TV as well, although TV will often help you come up with a slightly alternative angle. But sometimes they will ask you for an exclusive. Very rarely have I had anyone on radio ask for an exclusive, but you will get asked occasionally from all types of media. It just depends what they're trying to achieve and whether they want to be seen to be cutting edge. But there is a way that you can manage it, which I'm going to run through with you as well. So the reason why specific media want an exclusive is that they are all trying to find in that industry category, so newspapers and TV news. So the news always wants an exclusive. They want to be the one to break something. And it's because that increases their readership and it increases their viewers if they're on TV. So they will fight each other. They want to be the one to break the story. And if they can get a story exclusive, they are very, very happy about it. All right, so what do you do if you're asked for an exclusive? So what you'll find is that a journalist will say, this is great, thank you very much. Can I have it as an exclusive? And it depends how you're doing your campaign. So there's two ways that you can do it. One is you may have written an article and you may have sent it already out to maybe 20, 30, even 100 different media outlets before you get asked for that exclusive. So what you would do in that situation is you would say, look, if nobody else has picked it up, you can be honest with them and you can say, look, I have sent it out to a lot of media, but nobody else has shown any interest in it. So therefore, yes, you can have it as an exclusive. And if anybody else asks me, I'll let them know that you're running it first. However, what you can do, if that's the situation, is hopefully have another angle or another media release written and you let them sit on that exclusive for a while you go and send your media release out, your alternative media release out to other media. Now, if it is an exclusive, it is also normally only within a particular industry category, which I will cover off later, because it's basically TV programs competing against TV programs, magazines compete against other magazines, and the evening news obviously are all competing with each other. So I interviewed Susie O'Brien. For any of you that have done my course, you will have seen this, but Susie is one of the senior journalists with the Herald Sun. And when we asked her, what would you do with an exclusive? She says, look, I will always tell them if I want an exclusive. And she loves, and so do a lot of journalists, love a pitch that has been created just for them. So that's what she's looking for. But sometimes if you send her a media release that's gone out a bit wider than that, she may be interested as well. But she says in terms of news, she will always tell you within 24 to 48 hours max, if she's going to be able to use the story. The reason that journalists will ask for an exclusive often and then ask you if you can give them that as an option for at least a couple of days is that most journalists need to go back to the editor or to the senior producer to say, are you happy to run this story? So there is a possibility with an exclusive that they'll come back and say, look, the editor said no, in which case you can go on and send it on to other media. But you let them at least find out if they're going to be able to use it. So how long should you wait? Well, as I said, with newspapers, because they move so fast, if they're not going to run it within a couple of days, they'll tell you. But you might find that some media ask for a bit longer than that. So a monthly magazine might ask for a week. But what you would always do, or what I would suggest that you always do, is if you're talking to a journalist and they say to you, can I have this as an exclusive? You need to say to them, are you able to confirm that you'll run it now? Or how long do you need before you can confirm that for me? Because if you're not going to take it, I do want to go to other media. So that is very normal. That is an absolutely fine way to ask a journalist. No journalist will get upset about that. But what I would suggest anytime anyone asks for an exclusive is that there is a deadline in place. And if they don't volunteer it, you ask them for it, because you don't want to let them sit on a story for 2 weeks and they probably have forgotten about it in that time and you've missed your window to go out to other media. So if they want to take it, then they need to do it straight away or very fast, and they need to tell you when they're going to use it. And otherwise you need to move on and give the opportunity to a different media outlet. So the other thing that you can do, and a way around doing exclusives, is that you take your general story and you tailor your message according to each target market that you're going to approach. So for instance, if you send a media release out to the parenting media, then you would tailor your message very much about mums, we know what this is like, or mums, do you have this issue with your baby? That kind of thing, so that they understand what it is. They understand that the message is directly for them. So on the flip side, if you're going to a business media outlet and you were talking about small business owners, you might talk about, in the headline or the first couple of sentences, might talk about, we know what it's like when you're time poor and you're trying to juggle your own business and staffing issues or whatever. Now, because you have tailored your message, if they want it as an exclusive, they can have it because you have changed it slightly for that market. And then you can go out with a slightly different angle to different media that is targeting a different demographic. So remember that if you tailor your message, then it's much easier for you to offer it as an exclusive because you have actually bothered to write the media release or the first paragraph of the media release so that it relates to only particular niche market. And then you can actually take your message and go to a different niche market with a slightly different message, and each of them will get an exclusive without you having to make it only available to one and not to another. So definitely keep that in mind. This is a really good example. Stella Gianotto, who runs a business called Brand for Brands, it's a branding agency. And what she does every time is she tailors her message to a particular market so they can have it as an exclusive. And I just wanted to give you a couple of examples. So when she's targeting the sort of gym and personal trainer market, she writes them a media release that directly relates to their industry. So in this one in the bottom left, she's mastering your brand strategy with these top tips. I should have actually put the headline in so you could see it, but it will be particularly relevant to branding your gym business or your personal training business. When she sends one out to Anthill, which is targeting entrepreneurs, and they probably will want an exclusive, then she creates How Much Should You Spend on Your Brand and When, a guide to branding your business. Now, the same media release has gone out to the media outlet on the right, but with a slightly different tweak. Again, the same thing has gone out to the Shaker, and she's got a slightly different message. This is all about really how much you should spend on your brand and what you should do with your brand. But she's got different headlines and slightly different messages. So each of them do, in effect, have an exclusive, but she's got that same story out to a lot of different media. And that is definitely a technique that I would consider applying yourselves. So how do you choose, if you've got a really good story and you really want to get it as a big story, how do you choose who to offer it to? Well, what I would suggest is that you cherry pick the media that you would absolutely love to be in. Now, if you've got a business that's targeting other businesses, so it's a service business, probably one of your dreams would be to be in the Australian Financial Review or maybe Smart Company. So actually write your story as if you're writing it for their readers and then offer it to them as an exclusive, and they may well love it and take it. The best idea really is to cherry pick the biggest media in the industry or the biggest media that your consumers are probably listening to, watching or reading, and then go to them with an exclusive. And then if they don't take it, start going down, okay, if I can't get the Fin Review and Smart Company, the next thing I would really like to be in would be The Age or the Sydney Morning Herald in their small business section. I'm going to go and offer it to them. So then offer it to them. If they say no, then you go on to the next one, and so on and so on. But that is one way that I would always think that if you want to work out who to offer the exclusive to, go to the one with the biggest audience, that is, or the one that is specifically targeting your customers. Okay, so another thing that people ask me with a media release is if I write the media release, is the journalist going to write a whole big story around the topic, or am I writing the whole thing and they'll cut and paste and put it in themselves? Now, the reality is both. It just depends on the media outlet and on your story and on the day that you approach them. But if you write a story, you can write maybe 3 or 4 different sort of tips. That tends to be thought leadership articles and things that are in your head. So it's your knowledge that you would then write. Occasionally you'd write your own story, but more often than not, I would take what's in your head in terms of your expertise and use that to write your articles. Whereas if they are going to write it, then it is probably a newspaper that you need to go to, or a magazine with a gem of an idea. So you'll still want your media release, which is normally, by the way, 500 to 600 words. So if you're going to ask them to write the story, then that's when you go to someone like Susie O'Brien, or you go to the chief of staff of your Metro newspaper. You tell them the story idea. You would give them maybe some other people that they could go and talk to in order to get a balanced view in the media release. So, for instance, when the Age and Sydney Morning Herald did an article on Handle Your Own PR launching the platform, they went to the head of the PR Institute to ask her what she thought of it. So often they will try and get a bit of balance. So they'll take your expertise or your angle, and then they may go to the industry body, they may go to a competitor, they may go to a bigger or smaller company in your industry. But when they write it, they get the opportunity to do that. Now, if you go to something like Women's Weekly and they love your idea, they may take your story and increase the size of it by writing some more and asking you about it. Or the other thing that can happen is a journalist can come back to you and ask you to write a bit more. So I have sent out a general media release of 400 or 500 words, and I have had bigger media outlets such as the Fin Review come back and say, can you now turn that into 1,000 words and send it back to me? And then obviously that's their exclusive. Okay, so another way to extend your campaign, especially if someone takes an exclusive and they've taken your media release, is to come up with a different angle or a different way of approaching it. Now, I just wanted to give you, and please excuse my typo, I only realized that afterwards, it's perspective. So I'm a bit of a grammar Nazi myself, so I'm a bit horrified I left that in. So sorry about that. But there are a couple of websites that you might like to sign up to. The first one, QZ or Quartz.com, is free, and what they do is they gather up news stories from around the world and they send you a newsletter daily with these are the topics that are trending overseas. So if you have a story that's been taken as an exclusive, you can go onto something like QZ or Medium.com, which I think you actually have to pay for. Have a look at what else is trending around your particular topic and rewrite the media release or tweak it slightly to offer a different perspective on the same topic, but something that's a bit fresher. The beautiful idea, the beautiful aspect of taking something that has already been published overseas is that chances are it is a strong newsworthy angle. And so therefore, if you write along the same angle and make it very Australian, you'll find that the Australian media will probably pick it up as well. So that's just another way, if someone takes your exclusive, that you can then spin that and turn it into an article that you can, tweak it and send it out to other media. All right, so this is just my little splash page to show you some of the kind of publicity that you could be getting if you get started straight away. And I do encourage you to try and do as much PR as you possibly can. So how can I help you get some PR this year? Now, I have a few different training options, but I think what I might do first is I'll just go and check that there are no questions there, or see whether anyone has any questions. And then I will come back and tell you about my different training options. Okay, so Cheryl says, growing gourmet mushrooms, tourist destination, off-leash dog park is a community project. If those are different topics that you're talking about, Cheryl, then absolutely you can write about any of those and you could cherry pick which media you would like them to go to. All right, and I'm glad you're in, Cheryl. All right, so now I'm just going to quickly tell you a little bit about the different training options that I've got. I think Paul, who is my business partner, who is in this chat as well, will throw some links up there for you if you're interested in joining up straight away. First thing is I run a PR accelerator program. That is a 12-month program that is designed to get you at least 24 to 36 articles published over the next 12 months, which will mean that if anyone Googles you, they will be able to see just article after article that you have written underneath, which obviously positions you very well. So the PR Accelerator involves coming to a 2-day event every quarter, so every 90 days or every 3 months. And at the event, I will teach you about PR, and I bring journalists in and we help you write 3 media releases We'll brainstorm angles with you. You start writing, we help you, and we edit them. So they are perfect media releases ready to go out. And then we also throw in 12 months use of the PR platform. And at the event, I will help you to build a media contact list for each of those media releases so that they are ready to go, with the idea that you do one media release a month. And then as I teach you, then you can start increasing that. And the program is a 3-month program. And then what you do is you get to, when you've finished your 3 media releases and maybe you can't think of another angle, or you've run out a bit of motivation, or you've run out of puff, you come along to the next 2-day event and we help you get the next 3 months worth of PR, and you continue with that for 12 months. We've had massive success with this program. We've got over a 90% success rate. I highly recommend it. You also get PR mentoring from me every week. And this is the kind of gold standard, and it gets you PR very fast. In fact, at 9 out of the last 10 PR accelerators, somebody has been published at each event. And at the last 3, we managed to get people on TV at the event as well. So they got confirmation that they were going to be on TV. So that's my main training program. For those of you that would like to do something that's self-paced or something that's a little bit less expensive to get started, then I have a PR boot camp, which is 6 individual video lessons plus access to the weekly mentoring group. And you also get an ebook and 3 months on the PR platform so that you can get started straight away. So I would really encourage any of you that are not sure about PR or want to know but aren't ready to commit to a 12-month program, that the PR Bootcamp is absolutely perfect for you. And I do have other programs which I'll talk about during the course of these 12, I think I've got 14 weeks worth of free lunchtime webinars. But for any of you that might want to get started straight away and have a little snoop around on our PR platform, which is very unique, no one else has anything like it around the world. It's specifically set up for small business owners. I have thousands of journalist contacts on there. You've got a media release template. It will format everything for you. You get to see the journalist names and phone numbers and email addresses if you want to contact them, and you can send out to them from the platform and also do your follow-up. Now, we have a $1 offer where if you want to give it a go for 2 weeks, you can have it and try it for $1 for 2 weeks. Be aware that what that does, you can cancel at any stage, and if not, then we will sign you up to the full year, which is only $3.97 anyway on the platform. So the link is there on the side if you want to give it a go and just learn and just play around with the platform and have a look at the contacts that I've got in there underneath your particular area of expertise. So the platform is set up so that you can go in via lifestyle or business or whatever, and then it takes you down 3 levels where you can sort of get the exact media that you're looking for. So thank you all very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it over your lunch. Next week, I'm not sure what I'm talking about next week, but we will send you an email to let you know what the topic is next week. And I very much look forward to having you join me for the next few weeks as I tell you everything that you need to know about PR. So thanks for coming, everyone. I'll just